Now each family has that special individual to whom they credit their success. Well, for the Johnson family, it was none other than Rupert H. Johnson Sr. Not only did this man lay the groundwork for a multi-billion-dollar empire, but he was also the force behind his family's success. Hello and welcome to our channel. Today we are going to look into the journey of the family behind Franklin Resources Incorporated, a family that is one of the richest in the United States. So let us begin. Imagine this. It is 1947 and you are in New York City's Wall Street, the beating center of the financial world. A guy with a talent for retail brokerage named Rupert H. Johnson Sr. launches a business that will grow to dominate markets around the world. He was so moved by Benjamin Franklin's example of thrift and forethought that he decided to call his new business Franklin Resources. Franklin Custodian Funds, the company's inaugural mutual funds, were a collection of well-managed equities and bond funds aimed at the average investor. Charles B. Johnson, or Charlie as he is affectionately known, took over the company when his father, Rupert Sr., retired. He took over a small company with a few workers and $2.5 million in assets when he was only 24 years old. Franklin went against the grain by taking on the leading insurance firms for the investment business with the middle class. Charlie, though, was firm in his convictions that the business could do great things with the tale it had to tell. In the early 1960s, Franklin's hard work started to pay off. The trip, however, was everything but simple. Charlie was the fund manager, wholesaler, and accountant all at once. In 1965, Charlie Johnson's younger brother Rupert Johnson Jr. joined the business and took on additional responsibilities. The turning point came when Franklin went public in 1971. Franklin's expansion was propelled by this flood of wealth. A California investment firm called Winfield & Company was purchased by Franklin 2 years later. Franklin uprooted and relocated from New York to Los Angeles, California. As a result of the transaction, the combined company now has 60 employees and around $250 million in assets under management. This decade of the 1980s flew by. Franklin's wealth increased or almost doubled for 6 straight years. The company opened its first international office in Taiwan the same year its stocks began trading on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol BEN. When Franklin bought the L.F. Rothschild Fund Management Company in 1988, it was a major step forward. Franklin's assets under management increased from slightly over $2 billion in 1982 to over $40 billion in 1989. Franklin's rising income and bond funds were not affected by the stock market crisis of 1987. Franklin Templeton's rise to prominence in the 1990s began with a watershed moment in October 1992. At a reported cost of $913 million, the firm bought Templeton, Galbraith, and Hansberger Limited, resulting in the well-known merger known as Franklin Templeton. This purchase was not your typical one. Sir John Templeton, a legend in the world of mutual funds, along with his son Dr. John Templeton and John Galbraith, owned 70% of the company. Keeping the ball rolling, in November 1996, Franklin Templeton merged with Heinz Securities Corporation, best known for its mutual series of funds. With the purchase of Bissett Funds in October 2000, just before the turn of the millennium, Franklin Templeton bolstered its presence in Canada. Bissett continues to play a significant role as a Franklin Templeton brand ambassador in the Canadian market. Franklin Templeton has established itself as a leader in the field of conservatively managed mutual funds. It provides access to a vast selection of funds from a number of different brands. Franklin is known for their bond funds, Templeton for their foreign products, and Mutual Series for their value funds. Further significant purchases followed. An important turning point in Franklin Templeton's development occurred in April 2001, when the Fiduciary Trust Company became part of the organization. Unfortunately, tragedy shadowed this union. In the September 11th attacks, 87 of the 650 employees of Fiduciary Trust Company, which was owned by the Franklin family at the time, perished in the Twin Towers. CEO of Fiduciary Trust Company International, Ann Tatlock, who was at a Foote Air Force Base in Omaha for a charity event hosted by Warren Buffett, has a vivid recollection of that day. A new era began for Franklin Templeton with the turn of the millennium. They strengthened their position as a top worldwide investment management firm by acquiring Bissett in 2000 and Fiduciary Trust in 2001. In 2005, Charlie Johnson's son Gregory Johnson took over as CEO, marking a change in the company's leadership for the first time in 3 generations. Greg's rise to the top of Franklin Templeton is a reflection of the value he has brought to the company in his several roles since he entered the industry at the age of 24. Franklin Templeton was always pushing himself to do better. The company bought a controlling interest in K2 Advisors, a leading supplier of hedge fund and alternative investing products, in 2012. In 2013, after more than 50 years of tireless growth and transformation, Charlie Johnson decided to step away from the company. Franklin Templeton has always been guided by Charlie's success philosophy, which emphasizes a strong work ethic, dedication, and loyalty to clients. Franklin Templeton made their first entrance into the ETF market in 2014. This action showed their dedication to making their investment knowledge accessible in a straightforward and reasonably priced manner. There is now a broad selection of active, passive, and smart beta ETF strategies available from the firm. Franklin Templeton made a major move at the end of the decade by purchasing Benefit Street Partners in 2019. By adopting new alternative credit techniques, Franklin Templeton was able to expand its alternative offerings and strengthen its fixed income capabilities. Greg Johnson stepped down as CEO of Franklin Resources Inc. in November 2019, following a distinguished 15-year term in that post. Jenny Johnson's appointment as Franklin Templeton's new Chief Executive Officer ushers in a new era for the company. The organization is ready to enter a new era of growth and innovation with Jenny at the helm. Well, today, the company is worth $14.47 billion, and the family that owns it is worth around $8.6 billion, which makes them one of the richest families in the country. Amazing, right? So what about their lifestyle? Well, when you are this rich, luxury is sure to follow. Well, for Charles Johnson, it's like property is the way to go. And back in 2021, he forked over around $21.8 million on a waterfront Palm Beach home. The home has 7 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, and 2.5 bathrooms on a nearly half-acre area, truly a fitting home for someone so rich. Charles Johnson's wealth and power are not limited to the world of business and money. They have even penetrated the very core of baseball, the national pastime of the United States. The San Francisco Giants are a Major League Baseball franchise, and Charles is the team's largest shareholder. He owns 26% of the team. He bought in alongside Peter McGowan and Larry Bayer in 1992, but unlike them, Charles isn't involved in the day-to-day business of the team. He prefers to sit in the stands and soak up the atmosphere instead. It's inspiring to see Charles so invested in education, especially at his alma mater, Yale. He has contributed significantly to numerous schools and sports centers. In 2001, he helped fund the opening of Johnson Field, a premier field hockey facility. In 2005, he provided much of the funding for a major makeover that brought new life to Yale Bowl. It's not just the sporting world that benefits from his work. By providing funding initiatives like the Johnson Center for the Study of American Diplomacy and the Brady Johnson Program in Grand Strategy, Johnson has also bolstered Yale's academic ambitions. In a stunning act of generosity, Charles gave Yale a whopping $250 million in September 2013. The overall cost of these 2 new residential colleges was close to $400 million, thus, this helped pay for them. One of these residential colleges was appropriately called Benjamin Franklin College, in keeping with Franklin Templeton's namesake, and the gift was the greatest in Yale's history in terms of nominal value. In 2012, Charles and his wife gave the Carolines Foundation their historic estate in Hillsborough, California, known as the Carolines Chateau. This act ensured that the estate's architectural beauty would be preserved for posterity. Rupert isn't behind on the philanthropy part as well, and has made donations to the Asian Art Museum of San Francisco and the Delaware Art Museum. So that is all the time we had today, folks. Hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and do hit the bell icon on your way out. See you all next time.